Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa. We've got another amazing Domain Sherpa review for everybody today. We've got Ammar, Braden, and Josh on the show. And as usual, we play the domain game where the Sherpas mention a domain they recently bought or sold, and the other Sherpas try and guess the price, with the winner getting some Domain Sherpa or media option swag. Today's domains include Metabrand.com, Fairy.org, FirstArt.com, ZeroProcessingFee.com, and Braden drops the sale of Z.org on us. So if you want to find out what that sold for, make sure you watch or listen to the show. We also discuss a bunch of names coming up for auction on NameJet, including domains like Muffle.com, MasterAcademy.com, and Fiesta.net. All this and more is about to happen right now here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. So let's go. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jay On, and I am the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, where we get into the minds of successful domain investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become better domain name investors ourselves. These are the experts and the best in the biz. So there are now 4 segments to a Domain Sherpa review based on the way the shows have been flowing over the last couple of months. First, we've got the grand opening. That's where I intro the Sherpas. I do my AKAs. We see what's going on with them. We talk about some current events and kind of get warmed up and get moving. And then segment 2, we got the domain game. That's where we hear about what the Sherpas recently bought and sold. Everybody guesses, we keep score, and eventually we give out some prizes and swag to the winner. In fact, I just shipped out a care package to my boy Braden, who I'm going to introduce here in a second for his recent victory in the domain game. One thing we have recently changed is that we no longer do the prices right. We don't do the price right style. We do closest to the pin, but we're no longer doing the dollar up, dollar down, trying to game the system, because some feedback that we got that I think was really good was that, by doing that, then that Sherpa is not really breaking down what they think the domain is worth and why. And that deprives the listener of the benefit of really getting inside the minds of the Sherpas. So, so we're going to try to, although we all want that media options and Domain Sherpa swag, we're going to, we're going to keep it at least a little bit straighter just in order to make sure we give the audience the full benefit. With that, the swag, you can go check it out yourselves. It's shop.mediaoptions.com. Throw the URL up. That's shop.mediaoptions.com. And that's where we've got some of the media options and Domain Sherpa stuff. I've got some of it back behind me. We got puzzles, we've got mouse pads, we've got notebooks, we've got all sorts of shirts and sweatshirts and all that good stuff. So check it out if you get a chance. Also, and then and we're rolling out new stuff on pretty regularly. We don't really make a lot of money off of it, but we like people when they wear our stuff, so it's promotion for us and spreading the love and the brand. And with that, we move on. We got segment 3, which is NameJet and a Jet, sponsored by our friends at NameJet, where we review a list of domains coming up for auction on NameJet to see what the Sherpas like, what they don't like, what they think is a good investment, what might be some domains to avoid. We also provide a list on DomainSherpa.com that we've now actually including minimum bid, because some of the inventory that's flowing through from on the snap name side of NameJet has a starting bid at 79 versus 69. Most of the names we talk about really end up well above that, but just another data point that we include in the spreadsheet that you can find on the show page on the website. So that's DomainSherpa.com. So check that out. And then we wrap up with grand closing, where we discuss anything we haven't already covered on the show, what's going on with the domain space, market trends, current events, anything our guests would like to mention and promote that we already haven't discussed. So with that, let's move on and go on to segment 1, which is the grand opening, where I do the intros. And let's go ahead and start over to my right. We got my boy, Braden Pollock, a.k.a. Tony Stark, a.k.a. Mark Zuckerberg, a.k.a. Benjamin Button, a.k.a. Ponce de Leon. I threw an extra one in there to just, my dude does not age. It is that California sun, that organic lifestyle, man. And what's happening, bro? How are you?
It's all about diet and exercise.
What's the Ponce de Leon reference?
He's the guy who discovered searched for the fountain of youth, man, St. Augustine, which is the oldest city in the country and is about, 10 miles south of Josh and I. And you can go down there and there's the fort, and they've got like the oldest church, I think, and the oldest general store and all these kinds of things, little historical stuff. They got a pretty cool sort of town center area that you can walk around, and they've got shops and food and people and all that good stuff. So
is Tony Stark RDJ?
Tony Stark, what's that?
Is like Robert Downey Jr. Is that
Tony
Stark?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So
no, I wasn't sure if there was like another Tony Stark guy. I was like,
okay, that was.
Was that a dig?
I think that was a dig, man.
No, it wasn't a dig. I mean, Tony Stark is the Iron Man guy, right?
Yeah, Iron Man, dude.
Yeah. I mean, but
you don't know the movies, man. You don't know who Tony.
Yeah,
Stark
but I think Robert Downey Jr. is more famous than Tony Stark.
Yeah, but it's the Tony Stark character that I kind of equate with Braden. You know what I'm saying? And like Robert Downey Jr. can look sort of different ways for different movies. Like if you saw him in Tropic Thunder, you know what I'm saying? He literally was wearing blackface. If you saw him in or some other movie where he had the blonde hair, when I envision the Robert Downey Jr. character that I equate with our boy Braden, I think of Tony Stark. Like the shape up on the face, like the goatee, all sharp. Plus he's got his palatial spread in California, you know what I'm saying? And it's, really not too many steps down from the actual Tony Stark, like house in the movies, man. I mean, cause I just,
how did you guys get dig out of that? Like where was the dig?
Oh, because the way you were like, oh, you talking about Robert Downey. I thought maybe there was a different, like not as cool Tony Stark that you're trying to compare Braden to. Right? Braden heard it too. I kind of felt the same thing, man. I thought that's what I heard.
A fun fact, the Tony Stark character is based on Elon Musk.
Oh, see? And that's even
All
so.
Right.
Like I said,
okay, now we're getting a little carried away.
I think you might have some of the best AKAs out of everybody, man. And
I enjoy them.
Yeah, they're very good.
That's the only reason why I come on this show right now.
Dude, well, that and the, when you win the game, I just shipped you out. I mentioned this in the intro. I just shipped you some the Media Options sweatshirt, the gray one with Mo Money, the astronaut on the front, and as well as a Sherpa mug. Your first official Sherpa mug are in the mail. I've got tracking numbers and all that good stuff.
Let's see if I actually get them.
Yeah, they should arrive, man. So, and I hope I got the address right. I checked, and that's the thing. I mean, so I know you got that big spread out there, like with you got a lot of room, like near all the horse stables and stuff out by your house, and all kind of tying together on the thing, So, anyway, I think I did a very good job on those AKAs, and I know you approved. So, thanks. Thank you. So let's keep it moving. So we'll keep it going in the circle down to my lower right. We got my boy, Ammar Kubba, AKA King Kubba, AKA Danny Ocean, AKA Afterthought Fitzgerald, Great Gatsby. Don't chase an unworthy dream. You know what I'm saying? So you can find him online. I mean, we're at the point where you guys are on the show enough where I don't need to do full bios. I really just do the AKAs. And, but I do think for Ammar, he's blogging at afterthought.com. And when's the last time have you published anything recently? I know.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you're behind on schedule. You're behind. Come on, man.
We'll get
three
back
articles
to it.
up. How many articles?
We'll get back to it.
Well, the good news is
we'll get back to it.
For people who've been slow to get there, it won't take them that long to catch up. How's that? You know what I mean? You're giving everybody an opportunity to get in early, and so that's good because the stuff that you've written is great. I dig it. So I mean, we could talk literature too. We can get into some of that, we could talk about.
I like Ammar's blog. It's
great.
Some real stuff. It gets you thinking. It gets your mind moving.
There is very good stuff there, So like I said, we could take this on a tangent about literature and I'll throw out a hot take. Cormac McCarthy, No Country for Old Men. I loved Blood Meridian. I had a hard time reading, that's a tough book to read. So just saying, anyway, unpopular opinion, anyway. All right. Well, with that, man, thank you for being on the show. Appreciate you being here, bro.
Thank you.
And then last, but certainly not least, right below me, we got my boy, Josh Reason, AKA Bjorn Borg, AKA Harry Kane, host of the Digital Fortune podcast. You talk about not having content up for a little while.
What the hell, man? You come after me all day. Between you and Shane and Alan, you guys come after me all day right now.
Oh, man, you're like, it's because you got youth And that, like, I'm jealous. You know what I'm saying? The other day, it's like, I forget how young Josh is. And then he like reminds me, he's like, well, I'm still in my 20s, bro. And I'm like, I hate you with like the fire of 1,000 suns. But you know, it's all good, man. It's all good, you know. So anyway, host of the Digital Fortune podcast here on the DomainSherpa Network. No, look, and you know, I give you a hard time because really you're on every show, like all the main shows now. So there's not a lot of time between this.
I gone back to back. I was doing one yesterday.
You did. We did an NFT one yesterday. A big old rabbit hole gang. We have, and in fact, this will come out after that. So for the folks who haven't seen that one yet, so we've got James Booth, we got Jack Cow, we got Alan Dunn, we got Shane, we got Josh and myself, and talk a lot about all the NFT stuff that we're into. I mean, this is a domain focused show today.
Basically, I called the top yesterday, and things are crashing today.
I know. Yeah. So this will be good because we'll be able to like kind of confirm, you know, even further on this show that what we were saying yesterday, you know, that we might see a dip, but which we're starting to see. But you know, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But
so anyway. I shouldn't go buy that rock.
Well, so you know, I never bought a rock, you know, and that to me was like, I think, you know, it's like, this is the top, you know, we're always like, this is the top. And yeah, I mean, you know, there are definitely certain times, and that was one of those where it's like, wait, so it's a digital rock. So it's like, yeah, but it's the first digital rock.
It's
and it's
not
rare.
even a real fucking rock.
It's a digital rock. What do you mean, man? You know, like you can put it,
but it's rare though.
It's rare. Rarity is where it's at. It's all about digital scarcity, but it is also about utility. And that's why I do think, I mean, hey, for the folks who aren't listening in on some of that stuff, but I think this also goes for domains as well. It's just, you know, where you've got true utility, and there are plenty of NFTs that will provide that, whether in the metaverse or otherwise. And for domains, it's, you know, comes down. That's why the most valuable domains sell for the most money. You know, it's where's the utility. And that's also why I think domains, as digital assets go, are just as good as the best NFTs, you know? So they may not have the same fervor and irrational exuberance and all this other kind of stuff. And there are some things that the NFT platforms that do, you know, that make it more efficient to be able to buy, sell, and list. There's also a lot of money in that market, which makes it, you know, more liquid than domain names. But, you know, again, when we're looking at digital assets from a utility standpoint, it doesn't get much better than domains. So anyway, and which is why we're here. And with that, so that's the end of the grand opening. And then let's jump right into the domain game. So as I said, and as most of y'all know, this is where the Sherpas will share details of a purchase or a sale that they've made recently. And then they'll name the domain, and then the other Sherpas will guess the price. We're going to keep score. The winner gets the swag. And, but we do not bid, you know, we don't guess $1 up, $1 down to try to game the system. We get caught up in the competition and trying to gamify it and the fun of it all. But, you know, we do want to make sure we go through our thought process, because at the end of the day, you know, folks are definitely tuning in and would like to understand what you guys think, because, you know, and that's why having you on here is such a blessing for everybody and so important, because we do get to get inside the minds of you big time guys to figure out like what's really happening. So anyway, with that, Ammar, it's been a minute. I think you are the last, you were on the show the least recently. I don't know if that sentence made sense. Don't judge that based on your writing classes and your writing skills, because you're gonna be like, well, my 11-year-old would be like, yo, you don't fuck that one up. Yeah. And, so with that, but go ahead. What do you got? You got to buy, a sell? Let's do it.
I have a sell, which is actually pretty timely, because it's I'm assuming it's going to be used for NFT purposes. So I sold Metabrand.com, Metabrand.com.
That's great.
I think I undersold it, but
okay, that's the first.
There's a funny story. There's a funny story behind it though too that I'll tell after you guys guess.
All right. Well, we go in order. So Josh, you would be the first person to place your bet, if you will, on what you think he sold Metabrand.com for.
I think it's a good name. I think he sold it for 22 grand.
22 grand. That was very pretty specific. Why do you think any reason why? I mean, other than just it's a good brand, and that just kind of feels like what, if you had that domain, that'd be what you'd be looking to sell it for?
Yeah, I mean, I know for sure that, you know, I know for sure Ammar's not selling it for less than 10. I think it's a good name. It's got decent stats, so definitely a little bump there. but at the same time, he says that he undersold it, so I went a little bit lower on my range. I think normally I think I would stay more in the 30 to 35 range. Okay, I say 22.
All right, I like it. Yeah, I mean, and this is another reason why I think it's also important that folks are, paying attention to just NFTs as a trend, because, we've had some of our, and we say this on these shows all the time, we've had some of our biggest sales this year, either in the crypto or the NFT space for domain names. And so understanding, how these trends and things are moving is really important when, as a domain investor, because just like you would, if alternate reality, virtual reality, any other things were, I remember back when I was running NameJet, we sold selfie sticks, for 30K. And then somebody was trying to sell that name for 10K, 2 years later. And it's, if you catching it at the right time, I mean, timing is really, really important. Right. So
I will say this, if it wasn't Ammar who sold it, I would say like the normal price that I would say most people would sell it for in the industry is probably between 10 to 15. Like that, like, I think it's worth me saying that is like, I'm going to say that the price is higher when someone like Ammar is selling it, because, he's not pricing his domains to sell quickly. He's pricing them to sell for max value most of the time. So it's slightly different.
I think that's a good point. So I would take the same tack. I think Ammar is not as heavy in NFTs as some, but he understands tech, right? He understands the space. And like you said, he's not selling his names for cheap. I know that. I've got at least one name that Ammar and I are partnered on, and we're gonna diamond hands it, and if we don't develop it, right? And so anyway, so I'm with you. The fact that he says he undersold it, I'd probably be talking in the 40 to 50 range. He says he undersold it. I'm kind of torn a little bit, 25, 30, but I'm going to say 25K, and sort of same kind of thinking. I think this is a name that, to folks that are spending real money now, NFTs are bubbling. Like, there's a lot of different projects and things happening. There's a lot of money being thrown around. I think there's an interesting trend where a lot of crypto and NFT sort of projects, they're willing to come out, on these like dot apps and, strange, domains but that's like when they're the free tools and, and that kind of stuff, right? Like they'll use, those types of domains. But, once they get to a certain point, and especially when they get real money behind them, funding and things like that, they know and appreciate the value of the good domains and especially the good .com domains. So with that, but I'm going to say 25. I think I'm probably light, but you did say you undersold it. So that's kind of carrying like that one comment piece of information is going to sort of drive a lot of these guesses. But that's where I'm at. So I'm at 25.
All right, Tony Stark.
Tony Stark.
So
the Robert Downey Tony Stark or the other Tony Stark?
Because Ammar's got diamond hands, I was going to guess about 45, but I'm not guessing that because he said he undersold it. And I priced my names, my 2-word in the $35,000 range. So I also don't price to sell quickly. So I'm going to say, since he undersold it, I'm going to say 30.
Okay. All right. And I think and yes, and I think it goes without saying too. I mean, for folks who watch the show and who know Braden, who are in the space, know that you're another guy that doesn't just look to quick flip your domains and that you've got pretty strong hands yourself, so
not quite diamond though.
Well, you got the Tony Stark hands, you know what I'm saying? He's got the metal Tony Stark hands.
Braden's got lab grown diamond hands. I have natural diamond hands.
That's you've got the diamond hands. You're saying Braden's got the cubic zirconia hands.
Mine has been engineered.
That's it. Engineered in the lab, strong, man. Right. Tony Stark, man. So. Yeah. All right. So Ammar, with that, we've got a good range, 22 to 30K. What was the deal?
49.9.
Wow. Oh, you didn't. So you did. I mean, I
had a really strong feeling after all of this that Ammar was going to be like 150. Should have got 250.
Yeah, I feel I feel like we were kind of misled. I'm not going to lie.
No. But remember, I always tell you, I think I undersell things. So I was after it sold, it was on a bin also, which is amazing. Like to me, no negotiation, just bin. Yeah. So I was thinking about it, and Metabrand I think they got a great name there, because the future of the metaverse, I do believe this is a perfect name for a marketing agency or a, you know how you were talking about using your NFTs to like renting out their likeness, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I could totally see Metabrand being an agency that represents NFTs, that represents apes, that represents CryptoPunks.
Yeah,
no, I agree.
You know that's coming.
Yeah,
you know that's coming, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Well, and
right.
it's
so
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I was just going to say, I can totally see that being used, and I think it's super brandable. It's you can't misspell it. It's .com. Anyway, so I just feel like, and with so much money flowing, I'm like, well, what if I would have just taken ETH instead of cash or whatever? But anyway, I'm not upset about it. I'm happy. You know, it's a good sale, but I do think you could argue it undersold. Like, I do think you could argue that's a, you know, a 75 to 100K name.
Yeah,
but,
no, I absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and I think you're, you know, because what we see,
you could argue it's a lot more based on like that
use case, right? You could argue, domain, you know,
argue it's a lot more. Yeah.
Exactly. The difference is though with crypto, and I know this is probably an unpopular opinion to some, I don't think .com is the end all be all. I do think you can do very, very well with a .io. And I didn't check to see you had Metabrand.io.
And that's fair. That's a fair point. I mean, look, OpenSea, right, is a .io.
And a lot of new projects are launching on .io, and they probably could get the .com, right? And they're choosing the .io. I think it gives you that, you know, crypto cred.
Yeah, well, I think it's twofold. You know, I think the .io is acceptable, and I think it's becoming, you know, and as you have big companies that start to use it more, I think you end up with, you know, it starts to build a pedigree, right?
Right.
I think the fact that .coms are so expensive has created a situation where, you know, I mean, it started with the new GTLD launch and all that, and that was not what the public, and that wasn't what the demand really needed, was that many alternatives. But some alternatives clearly have been needed for folks, because I do think that, you know, especially when they're just getting started and they don't have funding, companies absolutely will focus more on what's to the left of the dot than to the right of the dot. But they're not willing to go so far outside of that, like, you know, .ios.
I agree.
You know,
I agree. I'm just saying, though, I think that I do think that there's, specifically in crypto.
Oh yeah,
right.
100%.
I think .io is really strong, and on the flip side, specifically in D2C, you know, direct to consumer, I think .co is really strong. So I really do see both of those as great alternatives to .com, and I've done really well with them. But again, this one was .com, and it's a great name, and I hope it gets really big. I love seeing names I sell kind of become big. I might kick myself and like, oh man, I should have taken a piece or whatever. But you know,
assuming that was an option. And you know, I think at the end of the day too, but yes, the Metabrand type stuff, because we've seen it now as bigger companies are trying to get more and more into NFTs. And you know, Visa just bought a CryptoPunk, Arizona Ice-T bought a Bored Ape. You know, there are big companies. Budweiser did the Tom Sachs Rocket Factory rocket.
Beer.eth.
Yeah, they bought beer.
Oh, and they bought yep. What didn't they buy beer.eth? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, I think as that's happening, companies and, you know, are going to need guidance through that process, right? So it's like, oh, well, we use Metabrand, you know, for our, you know, NFT strategy. You know, because at some point too, it's going to get to where it's like, oh, well, we kind of get it, right? We've got some smart people in our marketing department. We'll just have them bone up on it. But I mean, it gets like, here's the thing. We spend a decent amount of time in and around the NFT space, and there's still stuff that drops every day that is, you know, sort of new. Like I told Josh, I mean, you know, I feel behind the, you know, sort of behind the curve a lot of times, where it's like every day is an education. And I feel like I'm always like, you know, 2 chapters behind on the reading, you know, and because it's moving that quickly. And for the folks that are at the forefront of this from a tech standpoint, the influencer standpoint, and things like that, they're like in the mix, really doing things, not just managing it from like an investment or collecting standpoint. You know, there's crazy stuff happening. And once we get into all the you're going into Sandbox and Decentraland. I mean, people are building offices and studios and buildings and presences in these alternate realities where, you're eventually, you'll just have billboards and advertising in those spots. So as your character's walking around, he'll see, they'll see Budweiser and all that. And you can imagine a Metabrand.com companies being the companies that we buy ad space in the metaverse and then sell it to big companies and help them promote their projects.
Let me tell you the funny story behind it though, real quick. I had gotten an inquiry on that name like just a week prior. And I quoted the guy, and it was the perfect name. I think the guy was from Metabrand.ca. And I quoted, so I just go based on gut, and like sometimes I don't have time to think about it. So I just quoted him 25K. And just like the week prior, and his response was just a emoji with the tear, LMFAO emoji. That was his response.
I thought you meant tears like sad, like, I can't afford it.
No, like tears like laugh. I would have thrown my phone across the room.
You're like, yo, price just went up. Price just went up.
Yeah, so I didn't reply, but then I did think about it. And I'm like, this is better than 25K. And that's the day I set it to 50.
Nice.
Wow.
And then within a week, hit the bin at 50. And I don't think it was him.
Yeah, good.
So it just goes to show you
off the market forever. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Man. Yeah, I was just gonna say it just goes to show you like that guy needed that name. Yeah. Or he really wanted that name, right? Like if he really was planning on growing, beyond the Canadian market, he really shouldn't have been like, give me a big fuck you. He should have at least said, hey, that's a lot. Can we do 10 or 15 or whatever,
work something
right?
out. It's out of our budget, but we love this name. What can we do?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's also just a common sense, how you interact with people. And some people are terrible in general. So it's like,
I get responses all the time like that. People will just respond with like, LOL, good luck with that. Because they don't know, because they registered the domain for $8 and they don't know anything.
Right. But it just made me laugh. And then when I saw the bin email come through, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see who
you should forward that to him.
I know. I kind of want to, but then
make sure to sanitize it for any personal info. All right. Well, look, let's we've got to keep this moving. We're supposed to make this a short show.
I know.
This is going to end up being a marathon. All right. So Josh, what's up, man? What do you got?
What's up? Nothing too crazy. Bunch of small sales, no big buys. KOEN.co.
KOEN. So that sounds German.
Oh yeah. All right. KOEN.co. All right. So this is this is an interesting one. I mean, you already said that it's, now I'm trying to glean some of the info from
actually, before you jump in, Josh, you posted that one. So Ammar and I have both seen it. In our
Discord group. Ammar, have you seen it as well?
I have. I don't remember the exact
number. I'm not in the Discord. What's going on, man? Why am I not in the domain Discord?
All right.
Who runs the domain Discord?
Not you.
Can I get in? Can you guys get me in?
No
I'm not the admin.
What?
I told you. I'll work on it.
What do you mean, man? Come on, guys. Like, who else is in the Discord? What's going on? This is
don't worry about it.
This is all right. That's it. Okay, enjoy this final Sherpa for everybody until
the show's over.
Until Drew and I are in the Discord, this is it. You know what I'm saying?
No, this is what I told you on the last Sherpa though. I invited Drew like a year ago, and he and I got everyone to say like, yeah, let's have him in, and he just neglected the invitation after I got an invitation.
But we've since created a new rule that there are no brokers allowed.
Oh
no!
Is that really the rule?
Oh boy! Okay, guys,
this is going downhill fast.
Is that really the rule? I mean, look, it's hard. I get it. We're the #1 broker in the world. I get that, but we're not. We're not radioactive, man. You know what I'm saying? We bring value. We bring value to the table. Don't let our numbers get everybody shook.
Let's take this conversation offline.
Oh, we need to have this in public because I think this is the only way we're going to make something actually happen here. I feel like you guys are going to go offline. You're going to be like, oh yeah, we'll talk to so-and-so, and then we won't hear about it again. I'm going to ask the next time we're on the show, if there's a next time. Anyway, all right, let's go. KOEN, it doesn't work. Get us another name. What'd you sell it for? You might as well say what you sold it for.
36.50.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So you know what? Yeah. I get the point. Fuck it. I get the point. We're moving on. No, I'm playing. Go ahead. Give us another name that you haven't said in this.
I just told them a couple of them. So let me just go and log into my Afternet real quick. Go to Braden.
Well, technically I'm next. So let's.
Okay.
But I gotta say, I'm feeling a certain way. There's hurt feelings here. There are hurt feelings here on Domain Sherpa today. It's officially a soap opera. Okay. The domain that I've got is this is actually one that we collectively bought here at Media Options, but ferry.org, like FERRY.org.
I like that name.
So we will start with Braden. Go ahead. Let me know what you think.
And you bought it.
We bought it. It was a buy.
It was a buy. Ferry.org. I think you spent $2,200 on it.
Is that because that's what you would spend on it, or do you have other thoughts?
I actually think I saw it and didn't love it.
Okay, and how come? For that price, or?
I think Ferry is first of all, there's more than one way to spell Ferry.
I guess you could say Ferry. It's ferry.org.
Well, you can mix it up with Fairy, but
right, like Ferry, like FAIRY.org.
Yeah, like the Tooth Fairy.
Sure.
Which actually is a cooler name.
I was going to say, right? Don't you like Ferry? Like yeah. So it's Ferry. It's Ferry. You have the.
I don't know how that's different from what I just said. There's two ways to spell it.
Yeah. So you say 2,200 because you saw it, you don't love it. If you were going to buy it, that's kind of what you think. Where you think the price?
Yeah, I mean, I probably had it. I feel like I saw it on NameJet or something.
Okay.
Somewhere, and I probably had like $1,000 proxy, and that was it.
Okay.
.org is a little bit harder, and Ferry is more than one way to spell it. So, I mean, that's the biggest problem. And it's when you've got a word that kind of leans one direction, it's not necessarily an open vessel. It's not as easy to sell. So I think
Ferry. In this case, a ferry is a vessel.
Yeah, pun intended, man. Well done.
And it's an open vessel usually.
Yeah, true. Exactly. So it is an open vessel. It's
literally an open vessel, but figuratively, it's not.
Oh, this is good. Okay, go ahead, Ammar. I'm still feeling a certain way about the Discord, but go ahead, continue. Are you all three on the Discord? Are all three of you in there?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh, good. Okay, that's cool. Keep going. Next.
I'm going to go higher. I think that it's a really good name. It kind of works with the .org as well. I could see a big. There's a lot of waterways and a lot of ferries in the world. So it could also be a great delivery company, logistics, could be a lot of things. So I'm going to go higher. I'm going to say, because this was on the buy side, I'm going to say 5K.
Okay, 5K. And then Josh?
Yeah, I think around that range as well. I'm going to say 4,500.
4,500. And Braden, you said 2,200. So, all right. So, yeah. So I think kind of in line with what Ammar, I'm not going to tell you the price just yet, but the thinking in line with what Ammar said, I think there's, and it's funny. I used to actually work at New York Waterway managing back when I was in finance, actually. So, I was doing staff accounting work and things like that for them. And they had, and interestingly, as much money as they made off the ferry and it was bringing people in and out from Jersey to Manhattan, they actually made more money on the parking. It was the parking for the ferry actually was more of a moneymaker than the actual ferry tickets, and people had the monthly stuff and the monthly passes and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, but yeah, I think logistics, I think when you think about, travel, all that kind of stuff, the fact that you've got a lot of these sort of, these ferries that are managed, organizationally almost at a municipal level, right? So you got the .org sort of application. And just short, one word, so I think at the end of the day that it's always going to have value and be attractive to us. So the buy price was $3,510. So it's $3,510. So the winner is Josh. So if you calculate it, you know, so you undersold it by way too much, Braden, and Josh was closer. So although he overshot it, but anyway, so point to Josh. Bam. All right. So Josh, did you find a name that you can share with us that you didn't already share in your special secret best friends Discord that I'm not part of? I'm just curious.
Just next level. Yeah.
Bitterness. The bitterness is real.
I've never seen you butthurt like this, man. Skip Bros.
Well, you know, you guys are cute. You know, we're all cool, right? I thought we were all friends. Like, you know, we hang out, man. We're Skip Bros. Like, I'm actually gonna have to completely. I'm gonna have that domain deleted, man. I'm not even gonna let it expire. Skip Bros before Skip Hoes. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing, man. We had a thing, but you know. Josh and I went and grabbed dinner the other night. We went to Ruth Chris. We're talking about our big NFT wins. You know, no talk about a special secret Discord. Dinner was good though. Chateaubriand, you know what I mean? Lobster tail, all that stuff, man.
Wow.
You know, that's how we do it here in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. You know what I'm saying?
This is the DomainSherpa meltdown.
Fine. All right, go ahead. What do you got, Josh?
Let's do a buy. It was a little while ago, but this year. FirstArt.com.
FirstArt.com. So FirstArt.com.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I like this name. All right. Go ahead, Braden. You are first. Oh, no, actually it'd be me. I'd be first. All right, cool. And you said it's a buy?
Yeah, it was a buy.
All right. Well, I like the name a lot. You know, I think especially, and not to keep bringing everything back to like NFTs and things like that, but obviously, you know, we talk about art and collecting and all of that is really front of mind when we're talking about, you know, NFTs and some of the more popular things that are out there. You know, first art, I think there's, you know, this could be there could be a design business. It could be everything from, you know, actual like art curation, all the way, you know, could even be an NFT platform, right? So, you know, so I dig it, but it's on the buy side. So, you know, we're not talking about an end user price. So we're talking about a wholesale buy price for a pretty good name. So I'm going to say 5,500 is what I think that you bought it for. That's going to be my guess based on.
Oh, I just sold a name as well. We can do that afterwards.
All right, there we go.
Bonus name. I like it. All right.
I just sold one. Just got the email.
Nice. Congratulations. Braden.
So we're not going to switch. We're going to stick with FirstArt.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Did these guys already know? Hey man, I was asking that question legitimately.
Well, all of his sales get immediately copied into our Discord group. So
just immediately in the Discord. We should build it up so it even sounds cooler. Like, oh, and then, hey, did you get the, you know, the promo code for the free this and that? You know what I mean? Is it like
we do that too? It's
like Napoleon Dynamite, vote for Pedro. It's like the Discord, the domain's Discord where all your dreams come true. It's like
what was your guess? Just gonna move on.
I said 5,500.
I think you got a better deal than that. I'm gonna say 1,200.
All right, just based on the fact that you think you like the domain. What do you think?
He just thinks I'm cheap.
I think he's cheap. No, I think that he's a value investor.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
He's looking for deals, and he is all up in the NFTs right now. So that's his focus. So he couldn't help himself. He saw art in a domain, and so he bought it because he can't.
Now all of a sudden, I think I overshot my guess. I think I went way high, but okay, because I do think you're right. I think when you look at the way Josh buys domains, he buys very strategic, very analytical, and rarely seems to overpay for a domain, unless it's a .io. And even those aren't necessarily overpaying. It's just you need to really understand the .io market, and you know to play in that space like him and a handful of other folks do. So with that. All right, Ammar.
Wait, so Braden's at 1,200.
I'm at 5,500.
Okay, I'm gonna say 2,500.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,700. 17.
Won. Oh no, you won, Braden. I thought I was I thought I was the low bidder for a second.
1,700.
1,700.
Ammar was close as well. You guys were right. Kind of like it was like kind of right bang in the middle.
All right.
I thought it was a really good buy. I really like the name.
It is a good buy.
kind of name that I think can be priced in similar kind of range to Metabrand, like 35 to 50K.
Yep.
No problem.
Mhm.
I like Metabrand a lot better than FirstArt.
Me too. I do as well.
But I think they can be priced similarly, right? I think if I'm picking between those two names, I'm going to take Metabrand all day. But I do really like FirstArt, and I think that you got a really good deal. I immediately felt like I overshot it once Braden kind of gave his reasoning. So with that, all right. So that means Braden got that one. So now we are. Let's see. So
let me give you a bonus real quick, just because it just happened. All right.
All right.
And then we'll get to Braden, because we all know that one's going to be like blow our socks off. So just now, ZeroFeeProcessing.com. Zero fee
processing.
No,
We say processing.
You guys
say processing here in the States, by the way.
Processing. We're just not considering the O after R.
Processing.
You got
processing.
Why don't you learn to speak American like normal people?
Exactly.
Zero free processing.
Zero fee processing.
All right. Are we all guessing?
Yeah, and we'll go in the so I'm next. So I'm going to say 5,000, which you sold it for. I think you probably bought it for like $100 and you sold it for 5,000. And that is, or 4,000. Actually, I'm going to say $4,999. And again, I think you bought it for less than $100 or a really great rate of return on that domain. So that's my guess. I'm going to guess the buy and the sell price. Go ahead, Braden.
It's a 3-word. It's a long name. It's good. It's a good name, but I think it's a bit long. So I think you're shooting a little high. I'm going to go with 3650. And I think you're right that he picked it up pretty cheap.
So my turn. I'm going to go higher. Actually, I'm going to go 6K.
Okay.
We're talking about scissor hands, Josh over here, though.
Super Bowl.
Oh
Super Bowl,
my
man.
gosh! And it's coming from all
Super Bowl,
angles.
man.
The amount of times per day I get paper hands is next level. At least 10 times a day from 10 different people. I get paper hands.
Paper mache
all
hands.
Day.
Paper mache
it's
hands.
Unbelievable.
Not even paper. Paper is too strong.
I went scissor hands.
Scissor hands. Paper mache hands.
I paid $11 for it.
All right.
$11 for it last year, and sold for just now for $5,000.
Boom! What's up now? Ha! Yeah. So
Zero fee processing is like something that I was trying to sell at my previous company.
Okay.
It was essentially credit card processing with no fees. So when I saw it, it's just like one of those. It's one of those names that's descriptive of something that is, I would say, emerging. So I actually think that to the right buyer, could sell for quite a bit more.
Sure.
Yeah. Anything financial related like that, I could totally see. I was actually going to originally say 10K, but but then I'm like, well, if you didn't pay a lot for it, maybe you just want, it's kind of like bank the profit.
Yeah, those names, honestly, those are the names where it's like you see something that means something in an industry that you're familiar with, and you could pick it up for $11, and it's like, okay, I know that like, to the absolute best case scenario, like that name probably could sell for like 25K or something like that. But because I get it so cheap, I can almost like guarantee a sale at like the 5K range, because suddenly it just gets, you just open up that window to any person in my shoes that thinks about that as an idea, or like just impulse buys it at that kind of price range. So I feel like that happens. I see that kind of like pattern a lot with my inventory. It's like the names that I sell really quickly and really frequently, I normally think to myself, oh, they're underpriced. But then I look back and I see that I paid like nothing for them, So yeah.
Look, if you could take $11 and turn it into 5,000, and
all day long, the multiple is great. I do that too. If I get a steal on a name, I'll price it low just to get the turn, because we do want cash flow.
Yeah. Well, and win's a win. So I think you diamond hands the stuff that and really feel like, hey, this the value's there, and I want to make sure that I realize it. And but if you can make that money, you make that money. I think that brings up an interesting point about domaining in general. one of the things that I personally, think is a really, the more that you know about just everything, right? And I say this about Drew all the time. He's a guy who knows a lot about a lot, right? And I think that helps you when you are acquiring domains, because if you're intellectually curious, knowledgeable, and in general, then you're going to be better at selecting names, because you're going to recognize opportunities to buy names that actually mean something and have value. And especially if you can tie it to, names that have commercial viability, right? So, sure, you may know some abstract, historical whatever reference, but that might not matter.
Ponce de Leon.
Ponce de Leon, man. And it's all good. And but compared to stuff that have commercial viability, like you said, anything financial, like you were saying, Ammar, those names, and this hits on that exact category, this exact thing that people are looking for when they're consolidating credit cards or just otherwise just trying to manage their finances. And also too, if you know a specific industry, use that to your advantage. I'd say that to anybody that's getting into domaining. If you know a particular business, sometimes you can, sort of, there's this, it's almost like an endowment effect heuristic where, because you know it, you think maybe it has more value than it might to people. But if you really know the business and you can look at it pragmatically, same thing, kind of referencing Drew. Half his old portfolio used to be seafood related domain names, you know what I mean? And swordfish.com and shit like
Dude,
that.
I own seafoodmerchant.com. Whenever I see it, I think one day Drew's gonna buy this from me.
One day he's gonna be like, that's mine. He's like, I knew I'd make it happen. I knew I'd catch it, pun intended. All right, so let's see. Let's run this score back and figure out what's up. So ferry.org, Ammar, you were the closest guess, I believe, right? You won. Did you get the point for that one? I know Billy's going to track it and there's going to be a scoreboard up.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just know I'm terrible at this game, but you promised me swag anyway, so I don't care.
No matter what.
I know I've got 2 points.
What's that?
I got 2.
I think Braden's got 2.
Josh, and you have 1 and I have 1 then. So we've done 4. So then that's what it is. So if Braden and Billy will keep us honest. He does the post-production, he'll run the score. So we've lost track a little bit here. But I got 1, Josh has 1, Braden has 2, Ammar has 0. So now we are at Braden. So Braden's going to go ahead and give his, and then this could impact exactly how the rest of this game is going to go. We may need another name just to break the tie. So
I recently sold 3 names, so I can throw another name.
Yeah, except that here's the thing: you won't want to throw out all the names because then you can't get points. So if you throw out a name,
he's just swimming in it. He doesn't care about the points.
Well, but we all want to win. I think everybody cares about winning.
All about the W.
That's it. So
you take the W on the domains. I'll take the W on DomainSherpa.
All right. So Braden, talk to us, man. What's up? What do you got?
Okay, so I sold 2 little unusual names. I sold Earth.vc, which is not what I was going to talk about, but
I like that a lot, though.
I just think it's interesting because it's a VC.
Yeah, sure.
And I didn't get it in the promo. I bought it. I didn't get in the promo, but I did buy it on the drop.
Okay.
But no, we're not doing 2 names. So the other one is Z.org.
Damn.
Single letter.
Z.org, aka Zorg. You know what I'm saying? Zorg. Z.org. All right. Well, since you brought up Earth.vc, we're going to have to cover that and talk about that one as well. But Z.org is obviously so let's talk about how you got the domain in the first place, right? So I know that for .org, they held on to a bunch of single character .org domain names. Did you buy it from them as part of like how did you get the name? Before you even go into what you sold it for, let's talk about how you got it. How'd you get that domain?
Yeah, so it was a portfolio buy from PIR, from the registry. Okay. They've never been released. They have a program where you apply for a name and the board votes on it and they release it.
Did they give it to you? Were there any stipulations based on who you were going to sell it to, what you were going to use it for?
No. So it was unrestricted. The only caveat was that I had to buy a portfolio. They had a minimum number, a big number that I had to come forward with, which was fine. I just said, well, how many names can I get for this much money?
Sure. And then
and I ended up buying 7 single character names.
So you have 7 singlecharacter.org domain
I
names
did.
now in your portfolio?
I did. Yeah, I now have 4.
Were the others sold to, like, were they, like, did you get rid of them as a part of a deal with another domain investor, or were they sold to end users?
So one went to Alan Dunn,
Okay.
because he was around when I had the initial conversation, and he's like, I want a.org. If you can get me a,
Oh, he has a.org?
Yeah. And
oh, wow.
And I just, after I did the deal, I was like, it was such a hard deal. It took me like 6 months, and the board had to vote on it, and I had to I had to write a business plan. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult deal to do. And by the time I got it done, I didn't want to let it go, but I told him I gave it to him at my cost.
Yeah, well, and obviously for those who watch the show, especially the rabbit hole shows, Alan's part of our rabbit hole gang, and he has autismawareness.com, and I think or .org is it the .com, I think, and which has hundreds of thousands of people like on and involved in the site. All about raising autism awareness. And I'm curious if but plus his name also starts with A. So I mean, I can't imagine a better name or person to get a hold of that. And so that's awesome. So all right, well, let's focus then back to Z.org, Zorg. So you sold it, and after you went,
so A went to him. I sold Q.org a few years ago.
Okay.
Publicly reported. This will be the second publicly reported singlecharacter.org. So.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. And how long ago did you buy the portfolio?
I'd have to look up. I don't remember now.
See, this is a real deal name.
4 years.
This is a real name. So I got to turn this into an actual interview. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit, I got to get my notebook out. We're like, this is like, I
remember when he bought it. I think it was like fairly recent. Like within
this is real news. So
it was
like 4 years ago, I think.
End of 2016.
Almost. I don't know how you do that. November of 2016.
Okay.
I don't know how you did
that. Because we had lunch and we talked about it when you had just closed or you were working on it or something like that.
We've talked a lot in the last year and a half, man.
So, but just real quick,
how do you remember the date of that particular?
We became good buddies. Do you remember?
There is a shirt. There's a Brosh shirt, and on the back it says Secret Discord. So, okay. So, and just a quick fact check, or just to, it is autismawareness.com that Alan has, and it is a community of over 250,000 people focused on autism awareness, and and that's I know that's a cause that he really pushes forward, and and I think and obviously it's an amazing thing. He's an amazing person, and he's one of our gang. So it's all good. Big shout out to Alan, aka Gandalf, aka Bill Gates. So you can get your AKAs. See, that's what's cool about the AKAs, man. It's like they're logged in the blockchain. So once you got them, they're out there, and we get to you
imagine if you owned aka.com, what would you do?
Do you have aka.com? That's a flex, man. That's cool. That is
well played.
Yeah. He's like, what up now? Oh man. You've been in the gym too. I could tell, man. I could tell. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm looking like the before picture. You're looking like the after picture.
Yeah. Right.
So
I think we should change the name to this from DomainSherpa just to Rabbit Hole. That's it.
Let's be fair. You bought Ammar aka.com because it stands for Ammar Kubba Associates.
Right, there you go.
Ammar Kubba Afterthought.
That name's from
Afterthought. Ammar Kubba
that name
Afterthought.
is probably like maybe 15 years. I've had it forever.
Yeah, that's
really
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, so Zorg. So you sold it. All right. Well, actually, I'm glad I don't have to go first on the guessing of this one, because this is pretty cool, and I don't want to say it's not an easy one, but it's just a question of how high do you go? Because so go ahead, Ammar, you're up.
I mean, these kind of names, it's so hard to value. You just, I don't know.
How diamond are those diamond hats? That's the question.
Right.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Is it in inclusion? What I forget. It's been a while since I bought a diamond. You know what I'm saying? But like,
right. Yeah, right.
A BS1 or whatever.
The four C's. The four C's. I'm gonna go with 550K.
Okay, yeah, 550K, and yeah, I mean, you want to explain it at all, or I mean,
yeah, I mean, look, I think that it's Z, which is a really cool letter, right? It's I could definitely see a crypto use for it because crypto has no problem with .orgs. So I could see it being a token or an exchange. It could, like, I mean, it could be so many different things, but it is, it is .org. And I mean, like I said, there's really no rhyme or reason. I know it's not like 200K, or I don't think it's 200K. And I could see it being a 7-figure name, but I just think, I don't know, 550. The other thing is Braden is rational, right? In terms of orders of magnitude of being rational and reasonable, I think that, Braden leans more that way. And so I think 550 would be a good number for that name.
Okay. Josh.
Thanks for calling me rational.
So Z.com sold for like $7 million a while ago now. I remember that sale because it was like right at the beginning when I got into the industry. When I see Z.org, I just feel like Zcash have to own that name. Zcash
right.
is like is a pretty well-known cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with like around that a similar kind of range, but I'm gonna say 700. 700K.
700K. So I think that you're both low. I think that he sold the name for more. I think that he has Tony Stark in the in the lab manufactured diamond hands. And for what it's worth too, just Zorg is Dutch for care. If it's a hack, I don't think it is, but and there was also a character from The Fifth Element, Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg, played by Gary Oldman. I don't think that has anything to do with what he sold it for. But I'm going to say 750K because I think that, this name was, like you said, Z.com sold for 7 million. I think that, when you look at the fact that this was not a cheap name to acquire and also involved a whole bunch of stuff. I think this is not an easy one to pry from his Tony Stark diamond hands. So that is so I'm saying 750K, and it might even be more than that, but go ahead.
You acted like I was like super low, and then you were like 750.
I know, maybe I did. Maybe I did go a little bit. Maybe I am gamifying it a little bit by saying 750 as opposed to like 850 or something, but I just think you're both low. So I'm going higher than both of you is my point, because I think that, this is obviously an incredible domain. I'm excited that we get to, kind of break it here on the show. And I think it's going to be, and I'm feeling good about my show. Even if I'm wrong, I still feel good about it, even if it's not right.
So your guesses don't surprise me. I figured this is what was going to happen. And I wanted to get on and talk about this sale really for this reason, because of how you guys, how everybody's going to value this name.
You went low.
I priced it when I bought it, and I never increased the price. I had to buy it now on it.
Okay.
And somebody reached out, and he's like, "Hey, I want to buy this name, and your price is reasonable." And I was like, "Ooh, that price is too low." And so he had most of the money he needed. He needed like to make a small payment after 30 days. So I bumped it a little bit. It sold for $257.
Low.
All right, this is still a great sale.
Ammar,
just to make you feel bad.
Ammar gets the point.
Yeah, it is a great sale, but like I said, truly, yes, maybe that's too low, but maybe not. Like it's a .org. There's not really a lot of comps to go by. It's really, really hard.
The only other comp is mine, right?
Yeah. So, but I think
which I sold for 500 a few years ago.
Got it. So I think Josh Reason's point, though, actually, I think Zcash would have been the best buyer. Wait, was it Josh? You said that, right? Yeah. I'm a holder of Zcash, and they are the biggest, or one of the biggest privacy focused coins And they, they would have been the right buy or a great buyer. But I don't think that's a bad sale, Braden. I do think obviously it could have gone for more, but now you can take that 257 and plow it into a really nice oneword.com.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, look, and I don't think we're saying it was a bad sale because we guessed that much higher. I think it just means this is what we think of when we think of the way Braden values and sells his domain names, and and I think there's also something to be said for he's had a name like that in his portfolio that cost a lot of money to acquire, and it's 4 years later, and he gets an offer that's in the ballpark that provides a really solid, a solid return, right? And and then lets him, like you said, take that cash and now move it into something else and keep it moving.
Like I said, my guess was based on he's rational and he's reasonable.
Yeah, he's went there.
And he is also an asshole, but that's separate.
I got caught up in the irrational exuberance. All right. Anyway, with that.
So I tell you, the multiple is well within the range that I normally get.
Oh, cool.
I might have an NDA on the buy side. I don't remember, so I'm not going to mention what I paid for.
No, you don't have to. And maybe that's it. I also assume that you bought it for more maybe than what you actually bought it for. So
I got it surprisingly inexpensive. It is more. The multiple was more than I normally shoot for. So It was on the high side of the multiple. So I'm happy with the multiple. I have gotten $100,000, $125,000, $150,000 offers for some of my other single character.orgs, which I turned down. But this was what I had posted. I had posted it at 250.
Yeah. Okay.
And he, like I said, he wanted a little bit more time, and so I charged him a $7,000 interest for a month.
Yeah.
And so that's why I went up a little bit. But I'm not one of those guys that are like, oh, I screwed up and I'm going to raise the price now. I believe that, look, if I will always honor the price that I have out there. I have undersold names because I've made mistakes.
You're an honorable guy.
And so that was the price I put out there a while ago, and I was willing to honor it. So that's why it's so low. And I immediately doubled the price of all my other ones. They're all now. They're all 500, and I think 8. I have number 8.org, and I think that's like 650. But
yeah, that's solid. All right, well, good stuff, man. All right, cool. So with that, we are done with the domain game. We are going to go to commercial. When we come back, we're going to move through the NameJet list. We're going to try and move through it relatively quickly, and then because we've already been at this for over an hour,
we got to go.
I know. And then there's not much to talk about, I think, in grand closing because we've covered so much. So basically, we're going to go to commercial, come back. We're going to do the NameJet, NameJet gonna jet. Definitely spend some time there to make sure you all get your money's worth, and then we'll wrap it up from there. So we will be back in a minute here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains.
Media Options is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, Media Options offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. Media Options believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
FD was built by domain investors to increase your inquiries, sales, and profit. Forget spreadsheets and archived emails. Manage your entire investment portfolio in one place using a secure and completely confidential platform. Learn more at FT.com. That's EFTY. FT.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. After our marathon session of the domain game, we are now sliding into segment 3. I think I called it segment 2 earlier because it used to be segment 2, but it's now segment 3, which is NameJet and a Jet, sponsored by our friends at NameJet. And this is where we go over a list of domains coming up for auction to figure out what the Sherpas like, what they don't like, names that they think are worth putting some bids on, names that they might avoid, why they like them, why they don't, all that good stuff. So with that, let me go ahead and pull up the list. I sent the list to y'all. These are all pre-release expiring domains. So as we tell you on every show, because that's pretty much all we talk about now, is that, you've got to get the way these auctions will work. It'll be private auctions for those that have back orders in before the end of the pre-release date. Once the pre-release date passes at 11 p.m. Eastern time that particular night, I think it's 11 p.m. Eastern, right? Is that the cutoff? I should know. Anyway, once the cutoff rolls, it might even be 8 o'clock. I don't know. They've changed some things since I used to run the platform. But anyway, you after the cutoff, if you do not have a back order, you will not get to participate in the auction. You only need to have the minimum bid to participate. And we provide the list on the site, DomainSherpa.com, linked through the page of the particular episode. That'll show what the Esteban appraisal is. Take that for what you will. How many back orders are on the name as of the date of taping? How many days left in the pre-release period as of the date of airing? The minimum bid, source, which is expiry, reserve, which is no, and then SERP, searches, CPC, links, all that good stuff. So definitely use the tools. Tools will always help make the job easier, no matter what job that is, whether you're building a deck or trying to find good domain investment opportunities. So check it out. Today's list is a pretty good one, actually. I think all things considered, we did a show last week that had a fantastic list. And when we do shows week after week, we're trying to pack a lot of stuff in lately and really just keep building up the content in the library. In the process, sometimes that could lead to, we're running through and exhausting some of the good names, but I think we're still able to find some pretty good ones. In fact, we got 15 domains on the list this week. So let's go right into it. I don't know if you guys have it in front of you as far as who's supposed to go first. I think Ammar, I got you going first to talk about. Nope, actually I got Braden. Sorry, Ammar. Stand down. Braden, go first.
All right,
talk about the names you like.
Okay, so I think my favorite name is muffle.com. It's not super premium because it's not entirely an open vessel, because it does lean towards kind of like to muffle something, right? It has a definition. I think it can be rebranded to be kind of generic, but that's my favorite. I'm definitely bidding on that one. Fiesta.net. I like the one word .nets. Key executive is good. A key executive is like anybody in the C-suite is key executive. So there's a lot of trainings and stuff like that for key executive and coaching, and so it's a good name for that. Yep. I won't talk about everything. A corporate event planner I think is also good. It's long, but just like with Josh's sale, sometimes those strong terms will work even if it's long. And corporate event planning is a lot of money in corporate event planning because those are typically big budget events. And I like Titan Tech. Not really my kind of name, but Titan is a good keyword and tech is a good keyword.
Okay. So, yep, I think all those that you named are all good. Muffle is interesting to me because I think, one way that could be used from a branding standpoint, there's companies that do like paint or other things to try to do sound, mitigation, right? So I think muffle.com would be, or even like an insulation, kind of business that could use muffle.com as a way to, promote what they do, which might be to, again, put up like, do soundproofing and that kind of thing. So I think that'd be kind of cool. I think it could also be like a winter, you have a muffler, right? Is like a scarf maybe, right? So muffle could be maybe like, scarves and hats, like a winter gear kind of thing. It kind of makes me think of something like that. So I think muffle is pretty cool. I knew you'd like fiesta.net. I think I included that specifically in the list for you, knowing you were going to be on the show today. And I think that as far as the oneword.net, I think Fiesta is a great brand name. You can be used from anything from party stuff, tequila, alcohol, club, restaurant, events, all that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of, and so the same thing I would agree also, corporate event planner, a lot of words, but very specific and very targeted to things that, people need, and people will pay for, right? Corporate businesses, if they don't have in-house folks that do events, my sister-in-law does like event planning she's works in-house for a tech company, and and they're always constantly doing all that kind of stuff, and she does well. And especially for the companies who don't have a lot of that in-house, they need that kind of help. So, so all good, man. I think that all makes sense. So, Ammar, what about you? Obviously Muffle. The first thing that came to mind is
it generally, I think the first thing people think of is probably a little bit of a negative connotation, but on the flip side of that, I could definitely see it. My first thought was like some kind of sound insulation product, or something like that. But not my favorite name on the list. My favorite name on the list is actually Co-Design. I really like that name a lot because I think a lot of stuff now is going to be collaborative. I could see that being a tool where you work with a designer to kind of come up with something. Co can also stand for company, but I like it more as a collaboration.
Yeah,
right?
well, here's why. Yeah, real quick, and to talk about that name, because kind of what I did for Braden, I let him rattle through all his, and then I gave sort of
Wait,
like.
let me say it before you say it, because that's a good name.
I know what you're going to say.
Name. That's a good name, and
or
it's not just code. Yeah, and code signing is a big thing. Code signing is like. That's hot. That's a big name.
You've got.
It's also no longer on NameJet.
Oh, really?
Is it no longer on NameJet?
No. It already got removed. All right. Well, then we won't talk about it. But
it's gone.
Yeah, I loved it because it's a combination. So you almost read it like code design, code sign, co-design. You know what I mean? It's one of those like. I don't know if there's a word for that kind of word, but it's pretty cool. And anyway, but alas, it is not to be. So continue.
Oh no!
That's such a good name.
No, it is still there. My mistake. It is still there.
Yeah.
By the way, that would have been the most gangster shit ever to be like, hey, it's not there anymore. We're not going to talk about it.
And then Braden, next show, Braden's like, I acquired co-design.
I typed in code design.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about both.
But that's a great one. So I think good
so
call.
that is my favorite. Like, and for those, like you said, it can be both, but I like it more as the design. But now that you say that, I could definitely see it being more technical. And either way, it's got a lot of value. So I'm definitely in that auction. And the other one I like a lot is Sheer Bliss, because I like those kind of feel good brandables. I don't think that's $100,000 name, right? But if you can get that name for under 2,500, let's say, I could easily see that being a 25K name, right? So I like that. And the corporate event planner is good. It's long, but I've done well. I have a lot of planner and planning and plan type names, and those get a lot of interest. Like Braden said, a huge business. It's a long domain, but it definitely would do well, for SEO. It gives you credibility. Fiesta is great, but I have no luck selling even the best .nets, but Braden does have luck with those, so he'll probably end up winning it.
Take them off your hands.
Yeah. So that's it for me.
All right. Well, I think that's, I think those are all good points and, obviously good names. So, all right. Anyone else have any feedback on the ones he talked about? All right. Well then, Josh, why don't you dive in and talk about anything else?
Give us the remainder. Give it the leftovers.
You get the rest.
I mean, I actually like a few of the names that weren't mentioned, actually. So that's pretty cool. spos.com. Normally, I don't really like four-letter.coms right now, but POS, it stands for point of sale.
And something else.
Shit.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Special piece of shit.
Point of sale is a little bit more. It kind of goes back into the payments thing, right?
Yes.
So I think that there's speedy POS. I don't know, something like that, right?
Yeah, I like it.
I see
Secure.
that as being a decent name. Secure, yeah, very good. Titan Tech is a great name. I'm pretty sure nobody mentioned Titan Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Great name. You did mention Titan Tech.
It's a great. That's a really good name. He just sort of threw it in there. Just kind of kept it.
Well, for a start, Titan as a brand is so hot. It's one of the biggest brand names that you could. I mean,
and tech. Those are two good keywords.
And tech being an incredible keyword to add onto it, and then also there's got the alliteration to it as well. So it's just that's a great all around name.
Well, yeah, and especially if you can't afford Titan.com, right? And I don't even know what is on.
It was just sold. Titan was just sold, and then Bobbin's startup that just raised a lot of money. They're using one of their own. So I think they use Titan.tech.
Oh, interesting.
Actually.
There you go.
They might be, anyway, but yeah, but the point.
Titan Tech's a great name.
The point being is if you can't get
Titan,
Titan.
50K plus name.
Yeah, and if you can't get Titan, .com, TitanTech.com is a pretty cool name where you can brand yourself as Titan, brand yourself as Titan Tech, TT, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I would agree. Absolutely. So
great name. I actually, nobody mentioned light green, right?
No.
Light green. I'm okay with light green. If I can get light green at the right price, I totally put that in my portfolio and put a buy it now price somewhere in the 5 to 10K range.
Yep.
I don't know where it will go to, but light green is a color. Light green is memorable. See, like a ganja type website.
Sorry. I had to tap the window. My kids are bouncing the basketball outside. I don't know if you can hear it or not. So if not, then it's probably making more noise me hitting the window than But all right, yeah, light green. I like that one a lot. I think that's one of those where color names are great. Obviously, one word colors are better than but light green is kind of cool. And I
thought of it as the opposite of green light. That's why. But it does have a nice ring to it, light green. But I kind of how there was a trend for a while where people were reversing the terms, and so
I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about it.
But colors are good. I just bought my first color. Just
really pure color.
I got a color just last week, end of last week. I bought beige.
When was it? Oh yeah, beige. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh,
Andy just bought amber.com.
Ooh,
that's a great one.
Amber is great because you got the name and it's the color, and
you paid a lot more for amber than I did for beige.
No doubt, yeah, for sure. So, but I'm with you. I think that's a sleeper in a way because colors are obviously great domains. We'd yellow.com and others, and I just think that's just you got purple.com.
I mean, like lightgreen.com is cool. Like imagine if it was lightblue.com. Like lightblue.com is a way better name.
Oh yeah.
But
but light green could be something like could be cannabis, something lighter for weed. You know what I mean? Light green.
Exactly. It could also be eco lighting, right? So the more you guys talk about
that's really cool.
I may have to get it.
Well, we've definitely had those situations. We've definitely had those situations where there are names where I'm like, I don't love it, and then I get convinced on the show. But that's the whole point, right? It's the highlight, and then because it's not just we all see the same names, we all see the same list, but we all don't have the same point of view and the same perspective. So this is what we're trying to provide the audience, right? With that same sort of insight as to some things that maybe they're missing, or a particular name that they might like that we're like, yeah, but trademark issues, or have you thought about the fact that this name sounds cool, but at let's say at what it's probably going to sell for on NameJet, there are other alternatives out there that kind of devalue this and things like that. So yeah, so although I think almost all of these names, is there anything on the list you don't like? I mean, anything that you think is going to sell for more than that you think that it should sell for?
I don't particularly like shipservices.com.
Okay.
For me, it would really needs to be shipping services, and then even then I don't love it. I just don't love services anymore, to be honest. That is just services as a keyword hasn't done very well for me, and I've got some good
but that's such a big vertical, servicing shipping. But I mean, I don't love the name, but but it's not bad. I don't like Big Film, that one.
No, I don't like Big Film either.
Yeah, I don't know what that's going to be. Also, mini shorts.
Mini shorts. That was the one I had on my list as because it's not mini skirt, right?
Wedding notes.
Wedding notes, I think, is interesting for me because I think it's like the kind of thing where people have those wedding books, right? Where it's
a huge business.
And then from there, people sign in and the wedding registries and all that kind of stuff. If you can make wedding notes kind of like a way to, hey, a site that you can do your registry, you can do order, wedding invitations, and you can maybe build a little, or just
or thank you notes after.
A guest book.
You guys are right. It's probably a good
like
name,
that.
Actually.
So
nobody mentioned Master Academy, right?
No,
I like that name, but it's it depends how much it goes for.
It'll go too high.
Yeah, I like learning names a lot, but it's probably going to go too high.
Yeah. But that one's more about the price than it is about the name. And look, we say this on every show. each one of these names is purchasable at a price that makes sense.
100%.
And they all will hit that
There are
point.
no bad names. There are only bad prices.
Exactly. And and I think we've covered them all, exactly. Sheer Bliss, I think, is interesting. You mentioned that one, Ammar. And, I think depending on the use, and I think, it's got the lowest Esteban value, but I don't think it should be the lowest valued name.
It's got a really nice feel to it.
Yeah, agreed.
Obviously, I'd love to have bliss.com, but Sheer Bliss is, it feels good. Like that's a nice brand.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Well, I think we covered a lot of ground. And then, so that's it for the Namejet and Jet. So get to the site and then get to Namejet. So get to our site, download the list from DomainSherpa.com, then go to Namejet.com and, go get your back orders in on the names that you're interested in. The good news for those who don't know, but I think everybody knows, you put your back order in $69, you're not going to win any of these names for $69. That'll at least allow you to follow the domains, even if you're not intending on buying. You can do some bird watching, if you will. It's a good list of 15 names. So definitely get the Namejet and check it out. All right.
But
so
don't bid on co-design.
Yeah. Co-design is off the table. According, that is, according to Braden, it's not even on the site anymore.
It doesn't even
And so now we slide into our grand closing section. But again, we covered so much ground between the opening and the domain game and Namejet and Jet. I don't know that we've got a ton to talk about, but does anybody have anything that we have not talked about that you want to at least throw out there in the universe, promote, or let folks know otherwise? Upcoming blog posts, maybe.
I want to give a shout out to Arif Mirza.
Oh, absolutely.
Running Domainer Week this week.
Yeah, 100%, man. Big shout out to Arif. So
he's going like, I don't know how many hours, 6 hours a day or something.
It's crazy.
Doing interviews for 9 days straight. I think we're recording this today on Wednesday.
This will come out next Tuesday. So this will come out on the 6th. So is when this show will drop. By then, I think will he be done?
It's done. Yeah.
So then this will be a shout out. Hey, great work. I agree. I think he's been, putting in time and work, just taking over the domain social for Mike Seiger in the first place. I thought he did an incredible job. It's organizing that. I know Jonathan also helped a bit with that. Every time I would join the socials, I was always impressed the amount of people, and that they kept there was a good, we talk in the NFT space a lot about community and the sense of community and all that. And, I think it's important for the domain space that we have something like that where, folks can gather on a pretty regular basis, and, engage and trade stories and advice and all that kind of stuff. And he helped really facilitate that in a really productive, professional, efficient way. So, he'd actually
Domainer Week was it's like a one-man domain conference.
It literally ran it himself, and he had some of the biggest names in the space talking about different things. It really was like a prime NamesCon lineup. When I looked at it, it was really well done. And
and everything is also running concurrently live on Clubhouse, and then available to stream on YouTube.
Yep.
So I'm doing mine tomorrow. I'm doing a long Q&A.
Cool.
Which, of course, when this runs, will be last week.
It'll happen, yeah.
But available on YouTube. I think DomainerWeek.com, I believe.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly.
Well, what I can do there, I will find out from RF and I'll jump online and double check, and then I'll put it in the notes below here on the. So just go to Domain Sherpa, go to the episode page, go down below. You can see some of the notes, and you'll see some of the information as to that. We'll plug that as well. He had reached out actually to me to ask me if I wanted to help host some stuff, which I told him no, if he can't afford it. But I thought it was really nice that he asked. And no, of course I said, hey man, let me know what you need. And
I already did a session.
Yeah, you did.
Without charge.
Yeah, no, it was all good. No, I told him, hey, let me know. And then, so then he got back to me and was like, hey, we're going to do this auction or something concurrent, maybe with the, I think there's going to be, whether it's on Clubhouse or whatever. So he wants me to help him with that. And I told him, look, whatever he needs. I got so much respect for the work that he's put in and the job that he does. And he's a great guy. He's just good peoples. And so, yeah, Braden, thank you, man. You're good at that. And you're very engaged in the space at that level too, like in the domain space here to call that out, I think also is important. And so thank you for even mentioning it. And thank you to Ara for all the work you're putting in, bud. And now I'll let him know. So maybe he'll even, so you can plug this show in advance. See? Everybody wins, man. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
So, all right, well, cool. Anything else before we jump? I mean, I know we're over the time that we said, but while we're
What
here,
else is new?
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
I just picked up one of my favorite names in a long time yesterday. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago in an auction. So it's not in my account yet, but hopefully it closes. I got Haven.io, which I just love.
Yeah,
I think that's
you
a
outbid me on that.
Oh, Haven is a beautiful name, man. That's great.
How much did you pay under 10 for that?
No, over.
Over 10.
Just over. I think 10.5 or something. But
yeah, that's fine. I would pay like 10 for it. Great name.
Yeah, that's a terrific name. You know, there's a company called Haven Lock. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different companies out there that I think, you know, and
and it's perfect for crypto. It could be financial. It could be, security. It could just be a lot of things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So,
but anyway, that's it. So if anybody wants to do something to build it out, they can have it if they have a good idea to build it.
See, there you go. See, we're throwing alpha out left and right. Opportunities here on Domain Sherpa. All roads lead to domains. Making it happen. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the show today. Josh, you got anything else on your end?
No.
WE, just get to DNWE and sign up and buy and sell some domains.
Well, we're talking about doing something else, adding a little add-on.
Okay.
Obviously, DNWE is going to stick around, going to continue to kind of build out the tool. And I mean, I in my opinion, I think it's just a great tool for investors all across the category, whether they be new to old.
You need to fix the notifications. I'm not getting notifications anymore.
I need to talk. Maybe I'll call you personally, because they are working, I think, but maybe. Yeah, I mean, they're also few and far between. A lot of them sell before we see them. But before we see them, because they get published immediately as non-curated. If Josh and I don't see them before and they're like a really good deal, the users typically get there before us. So I don't know what the deal is there. We need to figure that out. But yeah, no, we're working maybe on expanding out a little. Maybe compete with a few of you guys.
All right. Well. All good. Co-op petition, nothing wrong with that. All right, cool. So get to DNWE, get signed up. Other than that, we want to thank the audience. I say it on every show. Without you, there's no us. So thank you so much for taking the time. Make sure you hit us up. As you saw, we took some of the feedback and altered a little bit of how we do the domain game, I think to the good. So, we are open-minded and always willing to collaborate and and chat and discuss and whatever. So, and we're not hard to find. So hit any of us up on Twitter. Get at us, at Domain Sherpa, at Media Options, all the individuals that are here. Me personally, just reach out and, we'll continue to keep it moving. And thank you to my panel, my guests, my co-hosts, whatever you guys are officially. Thanks for being here. This was a great show. And of course, because we didn't get off on, on time because we just having too much fun. It could be like this in the Discord too, but you guys are playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I was going to say let's finish this conversation in Discord, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're like, let's go do the good part over there. All right. Thank you so much, guys. This was a marathon as usual. A lot of fun. Thank you to the audience. We will see everybody next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Bye.